South Africa's seen no legal sale of cigarettes since the start of the national lockdown in March. Experts say the continued ban could be dangerous for those who've turned to illicit cigarettes. To discuss the psychological effects of smoking, we speak to Peter Hooker from the Tobacco, Alcohol and Gambling Advocacy and Action Group, and he joins us from Johannesburg. A very good morning to you, Peter. I mean, really tough time for those addicts.
Yes, Jane, it is a tough time. It can be very, very tough because there's several factors here. It's not only the addiction and trying to quit smoking, because that's one factor. But on top of it, we have this other psychological thing that, in fact, every smoker who now buys tobacco products is committing a minor crime, because the ban on sale of tobacco products still stands, and to sell and to buy the products is illegal. So on top of all the other addictions, you have that little thing of, I'm committing a criminal act. But the addiction itself, those withdrawal symptoms, can be enormously difficult, but there are ways with which you can deal with them.
Okay, let's get back to that. I mean, this friend that I was talking about was just saying how awful it is that, you know, you can walk into a pub and buy alcohol, but you can't buy cigarettes. She's not going to stop. She's, you know, incapable of stopping. But there's that added stress, not only of being a criminal, but what's actually in that cigarette. I mean, we've no idea at this stage what's been put in there.
Well, there are several kinds of cigarettes available. Some of them are the regular manufactured branded tobacco products, which you might call the legally manufactured products. Available on the market are also illicit and smuggled and counterfeit and other cigarettes. But let's just unpack it for one moment. All cigarettes are bad. We don't know all the additives that are in regular, legally manufactured cigarettes by the licensed manufacturers. The illegal and illicit ones may contain more or less. We don't know. The fact is they contain hundreds of additives that are designed to soften the harshness of the smoke in the back of the throat and so on, and they are all bad. They contain nicotine, which is the dangerous addictive drug. Lighting a cigarette, combusting anything makes tar, which damages the lungs.
Okay, it is addictive. I mean, that's the problem. What do those who are addicted to cigarettes need to do if they firstly can't access these illicit cigarettes, and if they can access them, how do they give up?
Well, I'm going to make this sound very simple, because in actual fact it is. The process might be difficult, but start with a simple decision. Just say to yourself, I quit. I'm now a non-smoker. And it's important to make that decision, not to say I'm trying to quit. Trying doesn't cut it, because it presupposes, it gives yourself permission, in fact, not to succeed. Because if you don't succeed right now, you can say, you know what, I'll try in July, on the 18th of July, on Mandela's birthday. And if you don't succeed then, you can say, well, I'll try again on some other day. And you give yourself permission not to succeed, because you can always try again. So make the firm decision and say to yourself, I quit. I'm a non-smoker. It's like, I can make the decision now to remove my spectacles. There they are. They're off. Decision done. Now I can decide not to put them back on again. I can decide never to take another puff.
And Pete, I mean, I used to be a smoker, and I remember the power when I finally gave up smoking, and I tried and I tried and I tried. And the fact that when I was smoking, I felt like such a loser. I should imagine everyone feels differently, but the psychology behind smoking it's a big one, isn't it?
Yes, you might feel temporarily as a little bit of a loser, Jane, but the big good news is that when you succeed, and you said you tried a few times, most smokers will make 2 to 3 serious attempts in their life to quit. And the third or fourth attempt, they'll become a permanent non-smoker. So when you don't succeed in quitting the first time, don't worry about that, because it's just a part of the process. You learn every time you try and quit. You learn. Then you make the decision again and say, I quit, I'm now a non-smoker, and you learn from the previous mistakes. And the second or third time, you might finally do it. Here's the good news, because as tough as it is, you get those empty feelings in the pit of your stomach and in your chest, and you think, I have to have a cigarette. First of all, those cravings go away. If you just wait 2 or 3 minutes, and there's some techniques that you can apply, but you wait and the craving goes away. It might come back. But when it comes back, it's going to be weaker and weaker and weaker each time, and the gaps between the cravings get longer and longer. And as tough as it is, at the end, and I'm sure you feel the same, Jane, I've had hundreds of smokers who've said to me, Peter, it was tough, but And there always is this little but. It was worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Because
No, I
now
mean, the best thing I ever did, and I went to acupuncture for that, and it certainly worked. Tell me, just very briefly, because we've run out of time, those who are chain smokers, I mean, the psychological impact of not being able to smoke, that's a concern, isn't it? It could be dangerous for some.
Yes, and there are many things you can do, and certainly it's become dangerous. We see increase in gender-based violence and family violence and trauma admissions to hospital trauma units. Part of that is brought about by the alcohol sale of alcoholic products, and we know that that's a fact. But the withdrawal symptoms from not being able to smoke is that you can sometimes get aggressive. But again, you can deal with that. Take a pillow, for example, or a cushion, put it against the wall and punch it, and take your aggression out on the pillow, and it'll subside, because those feelings of anger and aggression and frustration, the withdrawal symptoms, they do go away, and they get weaker and weaker, and eventually they die. And by the way, Jane, the only way to kill the addiction is to starve it to death. Never feed it with any nicotine at all, never take another puff, and it will die. And it'll be, as you've said, the best thing you could ever have done for you, for your family, for your pocket. Just a wonderful step you can take. Decide to quit. And we've been promoting, actually, Q in Q. Quit in quarantine. Here's an opportunity. It might be under some duress, but you have an opportunity to at least consider making the decision to quit. Make the decision and quit. Become a non-smoker.
Done. Peter, I like it. Thank you. Still